So, Naomi, thanks for joining us. Just got off the court with a practice session. What was it like today?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, beautiful day, great day for tennis. I love getting outside as much as possible. Had a really good, tough session. Worked really hard, lots of movement base today. Getting strong behind the ball, and yeah, really felt I improved.
So, Naomi, I was talking to Alan and Joe a few moments ago, and you yourself also alluded to the fact that you're coming back off a long layoff, an injury that, for the most part, would you say it put you into semi-retirement? I mean, what's the story?
Yeah, I had about 4.5 years out of playing. I played professionally till I was 21, and I, got to the point where I was really struggling with life on tour and life of being a tennis player, and decided to take a bit of a break. I'm the sort of person that if I do it properly, if I do something, I want to do it properly. I don't want to do it half-heartedly, and I felt like I couldn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, so I put an end to it there and then.
When you walked away from the game at that stage, what was your highest ranking in the world?
My highest ranking before was 174.
Wow, so that's it's not a bad go at it. So you did fairly well. And who was the toughest player you played against on tour before you walked away at that stage?
Well, the toughest player I played would have been Venus Williams. I got a really good opportunity to play her at Wimbledon 1 year, and she was the defending champion, and she also won it that year. And we had a really great match, and I played her in the first round. That's one of my fondest memories.
Do you remember how that game went? Did you knock her over the court? Was it a bit of a duel? What was it like?
Yeah, it was definitely a duel for most of the match. I actually came out and broke her first game, and I went 4-1 up, and then I lost the first set 7-6, closely in the tie break, and then the second set I lost 6-1.
Besides Venus, what would you say was your who would you say was your toughest opponent?
Other than Venus, there are loads. I mean, lots of players that I played in the top 100. I played Marion Bartoli. That was really tough. I played Sam Stosur. I've played Kerber and Lisicki, and so many players that have gone on to achieve such great things. And I've not always lost.
Do you have a winning record against any of those guys?
Kerber. I beat her just before I stopped playing. We're both the same age. I played her in Wimbledon qualifying. We're both about 21. I won that match, which was really good. I've also beaten Sabine Lisicki a couple of times. Okay. That was more when we were juniors, though.
Okay. You mentioned, or you alluded to the fact that the life, outside of tennis affected your playing on court. It's something that's not talked about often enough. How difficult was it for you off the court with your life away from tennis, or with tennis?
Traveling full time as a player is it's an experience. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I always say that I was fully prepared for how hard the tennis was going to be. I was fully prepared for how tough the competition was going to be, how hard the training, the dedication. You got to eat right, you got to sleep right, you got to dedicate your life to it. I was completely prepared for that, and that wasn't a shock to the system at all. But the life, I just hadn't really considered. Everything had been focused on that part of it, and actually, constantly traveling, constantly being jet lagged, being by yourself almost all of the time, different hotel rooms, actually having to cope with losing so much. I don't think I quite expected that almost everybody loses every week. That all kind of compacted on top of each other, and I found that difficult to deal with. I think mainly because I wasn't expecting it, and it kind of, it hit me quite hard.
Do you feel that you were, it sounds as if you didn't have much preparation from, was it the LTA or your coaching staff? Do you feel that had a part to play?
Well, when I was a junior, I wasn't really one of the top ones in the country. I wasn't funded very much. I lost, for example, under 14s tennis. I lost in qualifying for nationals of my own age group when I was 14. I actually lost first round of qualifying Love and Love, but then by under 16s, 2 years later, I won nationals, and at 17 I was playing at Wimbledon. Okay. So it was really quite a steep upward curve that just, I really rocketed. And to be honest, at 12, 13, I hadn't considered being a player.
Okay.
And then, I got to that level, and I won nationals at 16, and I was playing really well. And it was, hey, do you want to come full time and play tennis? That's what the LTA said to me, and I was like, yeah, sure, great, let's go for it. And then it just went from there, and I won tournament after tournament after tournament. And I even remember at the time I wasn't particularly happy, but I was still winning a lot, and so it was just keep going. And then I found myself at Wimbledon, and I was playing on a show court, and then I was a top 20 junior, and and everything. It kind of it all caught up with me in the end.
How hard is it, or how difficult is it for most young players who are trying to aspire to become professional tennis players? What would you? Well, it sounds like it's a very difficult thing, but how hard is it for people to actually survive on the circuit?
Well, I mean, it's almost impossible. There are 10,000 people trying to be professional, and there are 100 people that are. It's a very small percentage, and it's incredibly difficult. You cannot maintain. You can't sustain or break even in finances at 300, even at 200, maybe inside 200 now. The prize money's been increasing. Maybe you can break even, but that's without having a coach. That's, you really, it's not easy. I mean, it's such a fantastic opportunity. Tennis is the toughest sport in the world, but it's also the best sport in the world. And especially for women, there are, Sharapova and Lina are two of the highest earning sports stars, in the past couple of years. They're the only women, and they're both in tennis. You can earn a hell of a lot of money, and you can have a fantastic, successful career. But because of that, there are a lot of countries around the world that know that and are fighting very, very hard. I'm about 395.
And do you know what? 67 years of age this year, and little's changed. I probably mellowed a tad, but a tad.